Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we will be creating a new window wall decor design along with two side shelves to display as home decor. Now these pieces are made from all wood plus some bamboo pieces from the Dollar Tree for the panes. Now I will provide all of the measurements to assist you in recreating these and show you how to use inexpensive wood pieces to make this into a high-end look. Now as always, all of the projects I create have complete supply lists in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather your supplies. Now before we start, I have to say, hey to all of my subscribers, and if you're a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well, and stick around to enjoy this craft and all the different ways and ideas that I will share with you on how to display this in your space. So now, let's just jump right into this project. Now for this project, we'll need two of these 1x4 pieces of wood. Now these are about $3.78 at my Home Depot, but be sure to check your region's pricing. We'll also need one 1x2, and this was $1.98, and these are both sold in 8-foot lengths. Now we're also going to need one pack of bamboo skewers from the Dollar Tree, and if you can't find them there, they are also available at Walmart in their camping section for 88 cents. Now to cut my wood pieces down to size, there's a couple of options. You can use a miter box and saw, and these are relatively inexpensive at most home improvement stores, and it ranges between $10 and $11. Now I have a Hitachi miter saw, which is now called a Metabo brand, and I love using this to cut all of my wood, and this model is very inexpensive, about $99 to $110. It's easy to use, and I'll link it in the description box below. Now there's a couple ways you can join your corners. You can join them at a 90-degree angle as shown here, which is the easiest way, or you can miter the corners at 45 degrees. Now I'm going to do 45 degrees for my project. So I'm going to cut my 1x2s with the 45-degree angle, 2 at 23 inches and 2 pieces at 21 inches. Now, if you do decide to do right angles, you're going to cut the shorter piece at 18 inches and the longer piece at 23 inches, 2 of them each. Now, for our 1x4s, I'm going to cut 4 at 23 inches and I'm going to cut 6 at 7 inches. Now, I'm going to start off by staining all of my pieces for this display. So I'm gathering up all my wood pieces, and I'm going to be using my Jacobian stain by Mimwax. Now I have a fresh can today, so you guys know I am super excited. So what I'm going to do is I am going to be applying this with a cut-off piece of towel. That's what I use to apply my stain. And I'm going to apply stain on all of the edges of the 1x2 except for those mitered corners. You do want to make sure you have a nice even coat and leave those mitered corners unstained because we will be adhering those later. Now we're going to complete this for all the remaining 1x2 mitered pieces, and now we're going to work on our shelf pieces. Now once we start with the shelf pieces, we do want to apply this to all of the edges of our shelf pieces, including the ends, and we just want to do this for all of those pieces, and we want to repeat this for all of the long pieces as well, and these will be our shelf supports, and let those dry. Now while those are drying, I'm just going to lay out some craft paper and grab my bamboo skewers. Now I am going to be using my Surebonder wood stick hot glue, and I'm going to be joining 2 of the skewers together and using some of these Dollar Tree clips to help hold them together as they dry. Now I just wanted to double up the thickness of the skewers because they will look better that way as panels, and I'm just applying a strip of hot glue in between the 2 skewers and then clipping them together as I go down, holding them in place while they dry. So after about a minute or so, it should be nice and dry, and you can remove your clips and then continue making these for the remainder of your skewers. And here are all of our double skewers all glued together and ready to go. Now you can choose to paint these black if you want to, and here's an example of what one looks like painted black, but for this project I decided to go ahead and stain these instead, and so I'm going to use that same cloth and just go ahead and apply that stain to the side that does not have the glue on it. You just want to apply a nice generous layer on there and just rub it into that bamboo until it takes the stain, and then just repeat this for all of your skewers until they are all nice and stained. Now you just want to let these completely dry. So now that our mitered pieces are nice and dry, we can start putting together our window frame. So our longer pieces will go on the side and our shorter pieces will be crossing the top and the bottom. Now we just want to match up those corners, and I'm going to be using my Surebonder wood stick glue on the corners, but you could definitely use wood glue too if you like. It just takes a little longer to dry. So I'm just going to add some of my wood stick hot glue into that corner and hold it together until it bonds about a minute or so, and then add another bit of that glue on the other corner and press that into place as well. Now once those two corners are nice and bonded, just flip it around and add that last corner, closing up our frame and just adding that wood stick hot glue. Now if you are using wood glue, it'll take probably maybe an hour or so for that to set before you can handle it. Now I did mention that I will be screwing these together. That wood stick glue is only there to hold it temporarily, and I'm going to be using 6 1.5-inch wood screws, or number 6 1.5 wood screws. I'm going to drill a pilot hole into that corner, and I'm using a 3/32 inch pilot hole drill bit into that corner of the frame, and then I'm going to put one of my number 6 screws into that corner. Now there are other methods of you to do hidden and pocket hole screws if you have that method, but this is the easiest way for us beginners to do this project. So now what I'm going to do is on the back of the frame, I'm going to mark the placement of my skewers, and it's basically dividing it into 3 sections. So on this long side, I'm dividing it as 6 3/4 inch. And then on the short side, the sections will be 5 3/4 inch. Now I'm just going over all of my marks with a Sharpie so I can see them better when I start to apply my skewers. So now I'm going to grab one of my bamboo skewers and I'm going to lay it across the frame where those markings are and cut it down to size where it overlaps about 1/2 inch over each side. And then I'm just going to add some more of that wood stick hot glue on one side and then add it to the other, securing that piece across the side to side. And now I'm going to add a second skewer at that second marking, cutting it down and laying it there the same way I did as the first. And now your 2 skewers are there on the long sides, and we're just going to repeat this until we add the other 2 skewers the other way. Now once they're all secured into place and that glue dries, I'm just going to follow up with a staple gun, adding a couple staples in each one of those bamboo skewers just for a little bit of extra security. And here is what the frame looks like with everything secured into place. Now to hang this, I am going to be using some jute twine. Now you can use those D-rings if you like to, but I'm going to use some jute twine with knots tied on the end, and I'm going to apply that in the center and add 2 staples at each end of that jute twine right where that knot is. Now this is the perfect way to hang this lightweight frame, plus you don't need no special hardware, and it does hang nice and secure. Now we did apply those screws in the side, and we are going to kind of camouflage those in. So what I'm going to do is take some of this chocolate brown acrylic paint and some black acrylic paint, and I'm going to blend them together until I get a color close to my Jacobian stain. I'm just going to take a fine paintbrush and I'm going to start dabbing that color in the screw and around that screw, just kind of blending it in so it's not as apparent. Now all you got to do now is repeat this all the way around the frame, and you want to make sure you do 2 coats, letting them dry in between, and your frame is now ready. So now what we're going to do is move on to making our shelves, and all of our pieces are now dry. So for each of our shelves, we're going to need 3 of the shelf pieces, and we're going to need 2 of the long back support pieces. So I'm going to lay down those long support pieces down side by side, and to temporarily adhere them together, I am going to be using my wood stick hot glue, or you could use a wood glue to apply these together right down the center, and I'm just placing dots of glue down the center of the side. And then I'm going to press them together firmly until they glue firmly into place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shelves, and I want to put 3 shelves, placing them equally apart. And what I decided to do is place the bottom one about 2 inches up from the bottom, and my spacing of those are about 6.5 inches apart. You just want to make sure that 2-inch border is at the bottom. So now what I'm doing is taking my pencil, and I'm just marking a line where the bottom of the shelf will be, so we'll know where to glue it into place to temporarily hold it while we work. And then I'm going to take my wood stick hot glue one more time, and I'm running a bead above the line right down the center where that wood plank will be adhered into place. You just want to press it firmly in there about a minute to make sure it's nice and secure, and you want to do this for all 3 of your shelves. Now once all 3 of the shelves are secured together, we can flip it over, and we're going to grab some painter's tape, and what we're going to do is we're going to run that painter's tape from the side of the frame over across the back to the other side in alignment to where that shelf sits, so we'll know where to drill our pilot holes for our shelf security. And we're going to do this for all 3 of our shelves. So the screws that I'll be using for this is a number 6 1 3/4 inch wood screws. Now I'm going to be again using my 3/32 inch drill bit, and I'm going to drill a hole in the center of each plank, right in the center of that painter's tape. Now if you've placed it correctly, it should be right in the center and go through the wood on the other side. So once that's done, we can go ahead and remove all of our painter's tape, and we can start to apply those screws into place. Just carefully and slowly drill them into place. Make sure they are placed perfectly, and you want to do this for all 6 of your pilot holes. And you just check the other side, and all of our shelves are nice and secure. So all we have to do now is to hang them, and all we have to do is add some of these D-rings if you like, but I'm going to stick with that jute twine. It's easily accessible, and most people have this in their stash. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces with knots tied on the end, and I want to actually do a double staple on each end right above that knot. Now if you do 1 strand, your shelf could sway side to side, but I found that doing 2 loops will prevent your shelf from swaying and keep it more secure to hold your items on top. Now once you staple those 2 into place, this piece is ready to hang. Now all you have to do now is make your second shelf with your other pieces. So now we have our 2 shelves ready, and we also have our window. So all that's ready, it's ready to go, and we can decorate. And here is our beautiful wood window and accent shelves all hung up and decorated. Now I absolutely love the look of this window with the bamboo accent panels. Now I think each of these side shelves makes the perfect companion to this piece. Now you can add an optional wreath to the center, or you can add wording if you like. And then just add all of the accessories of your choice to the shelves to complete the look. Now these can be used together or separate, and it's great in a living space or even a bathroom. Now even though I've given my special touch to these, there's never one as great as your own. Now if you're interested in any of the decorative pieces I've used in my staging, I'll be sure to link the tutorials and links to them in the description box for more details on how to make them. Let me know what you think of this project. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen, and make sure you hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.